I'll never forget the day I stumbled upon the forsaken town. It was a foggy evening as I followed a winding path through the dense woods. The air seemed to grow colder with each step, and an unnatural silence settled over the landscape. I had a feeling that I was no longer in the realm of the living. As I emerged from the woods, a dilapidated sign greeted me with the words, "Welcome to Hollowbrook." The town's name frightened me, but I couldn't resist the urge to explore its haunting secrets. The streets were lined with decrepit houses, their windows boarded up and their roofs sagging with the weight of time. It was as if the town itself had been forsaken, forgotten by the world and trapped in a state of perpetual decay. As I ventured further into the heart of Hollowbrook, I noticed strange symbols etched into the walls and doors, an ominous language I couldn't decipher. The fog seemed to thicken, and the streets twisted and turned like a maze, making it impossible to find my way back. A sense of foreboding settled over me, but my curiosity pushed me forward. The silence was deafening, broken only by the distant echo of my footsteps on the cobblestones. Suddenly I heard whispers in the shadows, faint and indistinct. I turned, searching for the source, but the fog obscured my vision, and the whispers seemed to come from all around me. "Leave this place," a disembodied voice warned. "This town is cursed." My heart pounded in my chest as I tried to flee, but the streets had changed and I found myself in a different part of town. Panic set in, and I realized that something malevolent was at play, a force that refused to let me leave. As the night fell, the town took on an even more sinister aura. The street lamps flickered like dying embers, casting elongated shadows that seemed to reach out for me. In the distance, I saw a figure standing at the end of an alleyway. It was a tall, gaunt man dressed in tattered clothing. His eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and a malicious grin spread across his lips. Fear gripped me and I tried to turn back, but an invisible force held me in place. The man approached, his footsteps echoing with an unnatural cadence. "You shouldn't have come here," he said, his voice a chilling whisper. "Hollowbrook is no place for the living. What do you want from me?" I managed to stammer. The man's grin widened, revealing sharp, pointed teeth. "Your soul, of course," he replied, his eyes gleaming with malevolence. "Once you enter Hollowbrook, there's no escape. You belong to us now." With a surge of terror, I broke free from the invisible hold and ran as fast as my legs could carry me. But no matter how far I ran, the town seemed to stretch on forever, its cursed streets leading me in endless circles. The fog grew thicker, and I could no longer distinguish reality from illusion. Whispers filled my mind, urging me to surrender to the darkness, to embrace the fate that awaited me in Hollowbrook. I stumbled upon an old church, its crumbling facade a beacon of hope in the desolate landscape. Desperate for refuge, I rushed inside, hoping that the sanctity of the holy ground would protect me. But as I stepped through the church's doors, a haunting sight greeted me. The pews were filled with shadowy figures, their eyes glowing like the man I had encountered earlier. They turned to face me, their hollow gazes locking onto my soul. "You can't escape," they whispered in unison. "We are forever bound to this cursed town, and so are you." Terror consumed me, and I fell to my knees, the weight of the town's malevolence bearing down on me like an unyielding force. I realized that I had become trapped in a devilish limbo, a place where lost souls roamed, forever tormented by the darkness that claimed them. As the night wore on, I became one with the forsaken town of Hollowbrook, a lost soul destined to wander its haunted streets for all eternity. And so I warn you, if you ever chance upon a foggy path that leads to a forsaken town, turn back while you still can. For once you enter the clutches of Hollowbrook, there is no escape from its devilish grasp. In the heart of a quaint countryside stood an imposing mansion known as Willowbrook Manor. Its darkened facade and abandoned appearance had earned it a reputation for being haunted. Locals whispered tales of the tragic history that shrouded the estate in darkness. Years ago, a wealthy family, the Harringtons, had called Willowbrook home. The Harringtons were rumored to dabble in dark rituals and forbidden practices, their lust for power leading them down a treacherous path. One fateful night, their experiments went awry, resulting in a terrible disaster that claimed the lives of the entire family. For decades, the manor remained vacant, the townspeople too afraid to venture near it. However, a group of thrill-seekers, my friends and I, decided to spend a night at Willowbrook, drawn in by its macabre allure. As we approached the mansion, the air grew colder, and an unsettling silence enveloped the area. The moon cast an eerie glow on the decaying walls, and the once grand gardens were now overgrown with weeds. "I'm not sure about this, guys," Mia said, her voice trembling with uncertainty. "Oh, come on, Mia, it's just an old house," Mike said, trying to sound brave. But as we stepped inside, the oppressive atmosphere weighed down on us like a heavy fog. The air smelled musty and stale, and the floorboards creaked under our cautious steps. "We should stick together," I suggested, my heart pounding in my chest. The grand hall was adorned with faded paintings and broken furniture. As we explored further, strange noises echoed through the corridors, the sound of whispers and faint laughter that seemed to come from nowhere. "Did you hear that?" Mia whispered, clutching onto my arm. Ignoring her question, we continued our exploration, trying to convince ourselves that it was just our imaginations playing tricks on us. But as we ascended the grand staircase, we were met with a chilling sight, a shadowy figure standing at the end of the hallway. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice trembling. The figure remained motionless, its features obscured by the darkness. With every step we took, it seemed to drift further away, leading us deeper into the labyrinth of rooms. "I don't like this. We should leave," Mia said, her voice quivering. But something drew us onward, an inexplicable force that held us captive within the mansion's walls. The air grew thicker, suffocating us with an unsettling presence. As we entered a dimly lit room, a sinister atmosphere enveloped us, and the temperature plummeted. The furniture seemed to rearrange itself, and objects moved on their own accord. Fear gnawed at the edges of our minds, and we realized that we were not alone. Suddenly, a cold wind swept through the room, extinguishing our flashlights. In the pitch darkness, we could hear faint whispers all around us, their words incomprehensible but filled with malevolence. Terrified, we clung to each other, trying to make sense of the haunting events unfolding before us. Shadows on the walls and the echoes of agonizing cries reverberated through the halls. "We need to get out of here now," I shouted, my voice shaking with terror. We ran, stumbling through the darkness, desperately seeking an exit. But the mansion seemed to change its layout, leading us in circles, trapping us within its haunted walls. As we reached the grand hall, the shadowy figure appeared once more, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. It beckoned us forward, its ethereal form twisting and contorting. Without a second thought, we pushed past it, rushing towards the mansion's entrance. But just as we were about to escape, the heavy oak doors slammed shut, sealing us inside. "It won't let us go," Mike exclaimed, pounding on the doors in a futile attempt to break free. Defeated and exhausted, we huddled together in the grand hall, the darkness closing in on us. The whispers grew louder, their sinister voices filling our minds. In the depths of the night, we became prisoners of Willowbrook Manor, trapped in the haunted legacy of the Harrington family. No one would ever know what became of us, as the mansion's darkness claimed our souls, leaving only echoes of our chilling fate for those brave enough to venture near the forsaken estate.